On April 22nd, 2025, Tesla quietly reported a jaw-dropping $1.4 billion loss, its worst financial quarter in years. But what happened next wasn't just about money. Behind closed doors, Elon Musk vanished into a secret government hearing. No cameras, no press, no trace. And then, Trump's name appeared in the visitor logs. What followed was a series of events so bizarre, so unnerving, that even Musk's fiercest supporters were left questioning everything. This is the story they didn't want you to hear. It all began with a number, a single line in a quarterly report that sent shockwaves across Wall Street. Tesla had just posted a loss of $1.4 billion. For most companies, that would be catastrophic. For Tesla, a company that once seemed unstoppable, it was unthinkable. In early April 2025, Tesla quietly released its first quarter earnings. No fanfare, no Elon Musk live tweet storm, just numbers. And those numbers painted a grim picture. A $1.4 billion loss in just 3 months. Investors were stunned. Analysts had expected a dip, sure. Supply chain stress, rising interest rates, and a slowing Chinese market had all been flagged as risks. But no one had predicted this scale of financial collapse. Tesla's stock plummeted over 9% in a single trading day. For a company that once flirted with $1 trillion valuation, this was a brutal correction. The news hit like a tidal wave. Headlines flashed. Investor forums exploded. But as the market searched for answers, one voice was missing: Elon Musk's. Normally, Musk would be front and center during a moment like this. He's famous for defending Tesla on Twitter at 3 a.m., live streaming Cybertruck demos, or casually hyping a new AI project mid-crisis. But this time, nothing. No tweets. No interviews. Not even a comment. For 2 full days, Musk disappeared from the public eye. For someone who's practically built his empire through visibility, the silence was deafening. As people pored over the earnings report, the usual red flags were there: missed delivery targets, higher costs in battery production, weaker international sales. But something fell off. Buried deep in the footnotes was a vague reference to material risk exposure involving regulatory action. It wasn't explained, it wasn't highlighted, and it didn't appear in previous reports. To some, that line alone raised more questions than the billion-dollar loss. Tesla's energy division, its solar panels and battery storage business, also reported unexpected write-downs. Projects were delayed. Revenue had dropped. Rumors surfaced about a failed international partnership, possibly in Europe. But there were no details, no statements, no press releases. Just silence. Then came the leak. A supposed internal email from a Tesla executive made its way online. It wasn't verified, but it painted a troubling picture: backlogs in manufacturing, mounting pressure from regulators, and growing internal concern about Tesla's AI data and how it was being used. The email mentioned something even more serious: ongoing discussions with federal agencies about compliance, privacy, and, most chillingly, data sovereignty. Financial analysts started connecting dots. Had the federal government launched a quiet investigation into Tesla? Were foreign governments involved? Had Tesla's use of AI and real-time vehicle data triggered red flags? As these questions swirled, one thing became increasingly clear: this wasn't just about financial losses. Something bigger was happening. Then a new twist. Flight tracking enthusiasts spotted a familiar jet, registered to SpaceX, leaving California and landing in Washington, D.C. It was the same private Gulfstream that Elon Musk had used during major corporate events. But there was no public schedule, no media, no company announcement, just a quiet arrival in the nation's capital. Within hours, whispers of a secret meeting began to circulate. Musk had entered a government building through a back entrance. No cameras, no press, no staffers seen with him. Was it related to Tesla's financial collapse? Or was this about something even deeper? National security, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, or a classified investigation? Investors were left to speculate. And the internet, of course, exploded with theories. Some believed Musk was being investigated. Others claimed he was being recruited. A few suggested he was preparing for a high-level showdown over data, privacy, or control of emerging tech. But with no confirmation and no official statements, the tension only grew. By the end of the week, Tesla had lost more than $60 billion in market value. Confidence was shaken. And still, Elon Musk hadn't said a word. The silence, the losses, the strange visit to Washington, they didn't add up. This wasn't just a bad quarter. This wasn't just a dip in the market. For the first time in a long time, it felt like Elon Musk, the world's most unpredictable CEO, wasn't in control. And the question everyone was asking wasn't just what happened to Tesla. It was something much more unsettling. What is Elon Musk hiding? The fallout from Tesla's $1.4 billion loss wasn't just financial. It was personal. It was emotional. And it hit where Elon Musk never expected it: public trust. For years, Musk wasn't just a CEO. He was a symbol. The guy who sent rockets into orbit, built electric cars people actually wanted to drive, created underground highways, and talked openly about colonizing Mars. To millions of fans, he was more than a tech mogul. He was a visionary. But that image, it cracked. And this time, it didn't crack on Wall Street. It cracked on Main Street. Just days after Tesla's earnings call, CNBC released a stunning poll. Nearly half of Americans now view Elon Musk and Tesla unfavorably. That's right, half. Not indifferent, not undecided, unfavorable. That number would have been unthinkable a few years ago. But now, people were turning. Some were angry about the loss. Some felt betrayed. Others were simply exhausted, tired of the drama, tired of the unpredictability, and tired of feeling like they were on a roller coaster built by a billionaire who wasn't steering anymore. The comments were everywhere. On YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, or what Musk now insists we call X. Even longtime Tesla supporters were saying it. I used to think he was a genius. Now, I don't know anymore. I believed in Tesla's mission. But this feels like a cover-up. $1 billion doesn't just disappear. Something's going on. Even more revealing, some fans weren't just disappointed. They were scared. They weren't just worried about their stocks or their Cybertruck pre-orders. They were worried about what Musk represented, about how much power one man had across cars, energy, satellites, social media, AI, even the internet itself. For years, people trusted Musk with big things, things that shape society. But with each controversy, each erratic tweet, each political comment, that trust started to erode. And now, with no explanation about Tesla's collapse and rumors swirling about a secret government hearing, people started asking a question they'd never dared ask before. What if we were wrong about him? And while Musk remained silent, the news didn't. Mainstream media ran story after story dissecting the fall. Financial experts debated whether Tesla had grown too fast. Tech journalists questioned Musk's leadership style. But the loudest voices weren't in studios, they were online. A viral TikTok, posted by a former Tesla employee, claimed that internal morale had been sinking for months. That layoffs were looming. That engineers had been pulled from EV projects to work on unrelated AI initiatives that weren't ready for market. The post was taken down within hours, but not before it hit 3 million views. Then, things got political. Several high-profile politicians, on both sides, began to weigh in. Some called for more oversight into Tesla's data practices. Others warned about tech billionaires operating outside the law. And when asked directly if Musk had met with regulators, White House officials declined to comment. That only fueled speculation. People started asking, was the public turning or being prepared to turn? Meanwhile, inside Tesla, things were shifting. An anonymous message, reportedly from a Tesla factory manager, circulated on internal forums. It said employees were being told not to speak to media and to remain focused on the mission. But what was the mission now? With no public roadmap, no product update, no press conference, all anyone had to go on were rumors. And one cryptic tweet from Musk himself, finally posted 4 days after the earnings call. The dog has spoken. Next month I'm out. No context, no clarification, just chaos. Crypto fans assumed he was stepping away from Dogecoin. Investors worried it meant he was stepping away from Tesla, or worse, facing removal. Some thought it was just another Musk joke. But this time, nobody was laughing. Even Musk's most loyal fan base, his Twitter army, began to splinter. Some defended him, blaming the media for the shift in public opinion. Others said it was time for him to step back. One viral reply summed it up best. You can't be Iron Man and Lex Luthor at the same time. Pick a side, Elon. And through it all, the silence around that secret DC meeting remained. No official reports, no press leaks, but one grainy photo changed everything. It showed Musk, blurry, out of focus, walking down a corridor in a federal building. Dressed in black, sunglasses on, no entourage, just one man and what looked like a classified folder in his hand. Was it real? No one could confirm, but it didn't matter. In the public's mind, the shift had already happened. Musk wasn't just a misunderstood genius anymore. He was a mystery, a wild card, a man with too many secrets and too much influence. The public narrative had turned. And once it turns, it's hard to turn back. By the end of that week, Tesla's stock had taken another dip. Smaller this time, but steadier. Quiet withdrawals. Institutional investors moving money elsewhere. The kind of exit strategy that doesn't make headlines, but speaks volumes. And Musk? Still mostly silent. Still cryptic. Still unpredictable. He posted one more tweet that night. A single line that only deepened the mystery. You'll understand in time. Was it a warning? A promise? A threat? No one could say for sure. But one thing was clear. The Elon Musk of old, the brilliant, eccentric engineer who inspired millions, was gone. In his place stood someone else. Someone colder, quieter, and maybe more dangerous. The public didn't just lose trust in Tesla. They started losing trust in him. It started with a missed live stream. Elon Musk was scheduled to speak at a virtual Tesla event in Austin, an event meant to calm investors and unveil updates on the long-delayed Cybertruck rollout. The live stream was set. Invitations had been sent. Viewers logged on from around the world. And then nothing. No Elon. No announcement. No explanation. The stream ended 42 minutes later with a generic placeholder. We apologize for the inconvenience. It wasn't just awkward. It was unheard of. Elon Musk doesn't miss events, especially not high-stakes ones like this. He lives for the spotlight. He feeds off it. And yet this time, he vanished. Over the next 48 hours, the silence grew louder. There were no tweets, no sightings, no press releases. Even the usual Tesla insiders, who were typically eager to leak updates, had gone completely quiet. It felt like the curtain had dropped mid-performance. And then the internet exploded. The first theory came from a flight tracker account. They noticed something strange. Musk's jet, the same Gulfstream that flew to Washington a week earlier, hadn't moved in 5 days. Parked. Idle. No outbound flight logs. No confirmed arrivals anywhere else. It was as if he'd just stayed. And then came the second theory. This one far more chilling. A post on an encrypted messaging app claimed Musk had been seen entering a Department of Defense facility on the outskirts of D.C. 2 SUVs. Blacked out windows. Accompanied by 3 men in suits. None of whom matched known Tesla or SpaceX staff. The post was unverified, but it caught fire. Was Musk in a secure briefing? Under protective custody? Was he being questioned? Or was he the one leading the conversation? Mainstream media refused to touch it. But Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube had already made up their minds. Elon Musk hadn't gone quiet. He'd disappeared. And just like that, the news cycle turned from financial loss to full-on mystery. CNN ran a quiet headline. Musk cancels appearances, raises questions about Tesla's future. But on the internet, the headlines were far bolder. Is Elon Musk in hiding? Tesla's CEO vanishes after government meeting. Where is Elon? Some claimed he was preparing to flee the country. Others said he'd been detained by U.S. intelligence. A few wild theories suggested he'd already left Earth, aboard an untracked SpaceX vessel. Obviously untrue, but viral nonetheless. Meanwhile, Tesla's leadership was scrambling. The company's CFO issued a short video from Tesla HQ in Austin. He assured shareholders that Elon is focused on strategic matters and remains in full control. But viewers noticed something odd. He never said where Elon was. And for a company so tightly tied to one man's persona, that was terrifying. Days passed. Reporters staked out Tesla's offices. No Elon. SpaceX's campus in Hawthorne? Still no Elon. Even at Twitter HQ, XHQ, in San Francisco, executives claimed they hadn't seen or heard from him in over a week. For a man who practically lives online, it was like he'd been erased. But then, something happened. At exactly 2:13 a.m. Pacific Time, Elon's account posted a single tweet. They wanted silence. But I'm not done. 12 words. No context. No follow-up. The tweet got over 40 million views in less than an hour. And then it vanished. Deleted. Gone. The tweet only lived long enough to fuel more paranoia. Screenshots were taken, threads dissected every word, and conspiracy videos flooded YouTube within hours. Who wanted silence? Why was he not done? And most importantly, where was he? One day later, a journalist from a small independent outlet claimed to have a source. A federal contractor. Anonymous. Verified. The source alleged that Elon had met with government officials not about Tesla's financials, but about a data breach, something involving Tesla's autonomous systems and real-time surveillance data. According to the source, the government was concerned that Tesla's AI had collected and stored more information than regulators were ever told. Facial recognition, traffic patterns, audio recordings, things no one had authorized. Worse yet, some of the data wasn't just from the U.S. It came from international markets, and that could spark an international incident. The contractor didn't say where Elon was now, but hinted that he's being given time to cooperate. The quote sent a shiver through the tech world. Had Musk built an empire so powerful that finally triggered governments to intervene? By the second week of his disappearance, a new hashtag trended across the internet. Hashtag, where's Elon? Some were worried, some were angry, and some believed the whole thing was part of a carefully staged media campaign, an intentional disappearance, engineered by Musk himself to control the narrative and emerge as a martyr of big tech censorship. But inside Tesla, panic. Several mid-level executives quietly resigned. One board member publicly called for transparency. Shareholders demanded a full audit. Lawsuits were rumored. And Tesla's legal team stopped responding to media inquiries entirely. Meanwhile, SpaceX continued launching satellites. Neuralink held a private demo. Even the Boring Company teased a new Las Vegas Loop expansion. Everything looked like business as usual, except for the fact that the man at the center of it all was missing. Then, at exactly 11:11 a.m., on a Sunday morning, a Tesla dashboard in Florida glitched. Just for 2 seconds, every screen, across thousands of Teslas, flashed the same message. You will see me soon. That was it. No explanation. No media statement. But one thing was clear. Elon Musk had just spoken. Not to the media, not to the government, but directly to the machines he created, and through them, to all of us. At this point, the world wasn't just asking where Elon Musk was. They were starting to ask something far more dangerous. Who was with him? Because as silence deepened and the digital clues became more cryptic, one detail kept surfacing in every conspiracy thread, Reddit theory, and deep dive TikTok. Donald J. Trump. It started small. A photo. Blurry. Probably nothing. But it showed two familiar silhouettes, one tall and slim, one broad-shouldered, walking out of a hangar in Palm Beach, Florida. Security teams flanked them. No press. No fanfare. Just two men leaving quietly. Facial recognition software couldn't confirm it was them. But body language experts? They were convinced. Then came the leak. An audio snippet, no more than 19 seconds long, uploaded anonymously to a dark web forum. A voice, allegedly Musk, says, "They thought they could shut me out, but I've made contact." He's agreed. The voice on the other end? Hard to identify, but many believed it was unmistakable. Donald Trump. Within hours, speculation exploded. Theories ranged from wild to world-shaking. Was Musk forming a political alliance? Had he turned whistleblower? Was Trump backing him against the government? Or was this a two-man tech coup? Two disruptors pooling their power to fight back against what they call the system. For years, Elon and Trump had danced around each other, sometimes friendly, sometimes critical, but always watching. But now, it looked like they weren't just watching. They were working together, and people were terrified. Mainstream media scrambled to keep up. CNN aired a segment asking, what would a Musk-Trump alliance even look like? Fox News ran with it immediately. Silicon Valley's rogue billionaire teams up with 45 to fight big government. But nobody had answers, because nothing had been confirmed. Not yet. That didn't stop the theories from getting bolder. Some claimed Musk had access to classified data, information about AI surveillance, data harvesting, even predictive algorithms that went far beyond Tesla's vehicles. Others believed Trump had been given documents during his presidency, classified files that had never seen the light of day, files he'd held onto. And now, the two were sharing everything. Information, influence, strategy. But the question wasn't just why they joined forces. The real question was, what were they planning? Then, something strange happened. Several pro-Elon X accounts, once dormant, reactivated at the same time. They began posting cryptic threads with the same phrase. Operation Delphi is underway. No one knew what it meant. But the posts came in waves, automated, coordinated, spreading like wildfire. A pattern emerged. Every post included geolocation coordinates. The locations? Former government listening stations, old defense contractor sites, abandoned NSA towers. What was being activated? Who was activating it? And how was Musk involved? Then, another drop, this time from an ex-Tesla engineer who had previously been silent. In an anonymous blog post, he claimed, Tesla's vehicles have been collecting more than traffic data. They've been listening. According to the engineer, Tesla's neural network wasn't just for self-driving. It was mapping behavioral patterns, how people move, where they linger, what they say. Not just outside the car, but inside it. And who approved that? Elon Musk. And who wanted it stopped? The government. The engineer alleged that the secret hearing wasn't about financial losses. It was about control. Control of information, of AI autonomy, of a real-time surveillance network on wheels. And when Elon refused to give it up, they tried to shut him down. But now he wasn't alone. The narrative was shifting fast. Too fast. And then came the digital blackout. One night, unannounced, Tesla servers across Europe went offline. Temporarily. Just for 6 minutes. But when they came back, every car displayed a new update message. Standby. Phase 2 initialization in progress. No one knew what it meant. There was no patch note. No version log. Just that message. Tech forums exploded. People feared malware. Some theorized it was a kill switch, a digital lever Musk had built into the network. A way to take back control. But from who? That same night, a video was posted to an unverified X account. Only 6 seconds long. It showed a dark room. A table. 2 chairs. One man sat on the left. Gray suit. Arms folded. On the right, a man with slick-back silver hair, leaning forward. You couldn't see their faces. But the voice was unmistakable. We let them think they won. Now we move. That voice was Trump. The message was clear. Musk hadn't disappeared. He'd gone underground. Not to run. Not to hide. But to prepare. And now, he was building something. With Trump at his side. Not a company. Not a political party. Something bigger. An alliance. One that transcended politics, business, and even nation-states. Something post-government, post-regulation, post-truth. And while the public debated the implications, something even more subtle began happening. Certain Tesla models stopped responding to cloud commands. SpaceX's Starlink satellites adjusted their orbits without explanation. Even Neuralink's website, previously dormant, flashed a single new line of code on its homepage. The implications were terrifying. Had Musk baked in a failsafe? Was he rebooting systems the public didn't even know were active? Was this the beginning of something else? A new kind of network, a shadow infrastructure powered by satellites, AI, data, and influence? Something not built for governments, but beyond them. By now, the world was on edge. What had started as a quiet disappearance, a few missed meetings, some cryptic tweets, had spiraled into something far darker. Musk wasn't just hiding anymore. He was orchestrating something massive. And the key? The code. It all began with a single line of text, one that appeared on every Tesla screen. No matter the model, no matter the country, the reset is complete. Welcome to Phase 2. No one knew what it meant, but the phrase spread like wildfire. At first, people thought it was a glitch, maybe a weird software update. But no, this wasn't an error. It was a message, a warning. Soon, Tesla owners began noticing odd things. Cars stopped accepting new commands. Navigation systems began displaying coordinates, places no one recognized. Remote diagnostics revealed something even stranger: hidden files. Encrypted, locked away. And then came the first leak. A hacker, claiming to have cracked the encrypted files, posted them online. The contents were shocking: deep AI code, data logs from SpaceX satellites, algorithms that weren't just designed for autonomous vehicles, but for managing global communication networks. But what stood out most? A series of complex, self-updating algorithms that seemed to control the flow of information, not just within Tesla's infrastructure, but across the entire internet. The hacker, calling himself Zero Day, claimed he had uncovered the heart of a new, invisible system, one created by Musk himself. A system designed to circumvent traditional networks. A system that didn't need governments, didn't need laws, didn't need to answer to anyone. It was a self-sustaining, decentralized framework, a code that Musk and his new alliance had embedded within the global infrastructure. A code that allowed them to bypass security, hide data, and reshape the flow of information in real time. This was no longer just about electric cars or space travel. This was about control. As this bombshell made its way through the digital underworld, government agencies scrambled to get a handle on the situation. Cybersecurity firms issued warnings. World leaders spoke in hushed tones. Everyone was asking the same question: what was Elon Musk building? And what was he about to unleash? Then came the second leak. A white paper, buried deep within a Tesla server, was published on a notorious dark web forum. It was titled, "The New Network, a Blueprint for Control." The paper, written in technical jargon, laid out Musk's vision. At its core, a global, decentralized system capable of taking over entire infrastructures, energy grids, communication networks, transportation systems. The paper suggested that the network Musk was building could operate independently of traditional governments or corporate entities, using AI to adapt and self-repair. But there was more. The paper didn't just talk about control, it talked about evolution. The code is designed to adapt to the human condition, to enhance it, control it, guide it. It was clear that this wasn't just about technology. It was about humanity itself. Musk was proposing a world where AI-driven systems could take the reins, guiding societies, economies, and even political systems. This wasn't just a network of cars or rockets anymore. It was a vision for a new world order. The world reacted. Wall Street was in turmoil. Tesla's stock, which had already been volatile, took a nosedive. Investors feared the worst. Was Musk creating a new form of totalitarian power? Would governments step in to shut it down? And in the political arena, the heat turned up. High-ranking officials from both sides of the aisle began calling for Musk's arrest. His ties to Trump only intensified the scrutiny. Was this some kind of shadow government in the making? News outlets began running segments with titles like Elon Musk's Global Network, a digital coup in the making. Is Musk's code the future of civilization or a dystopian nightmare? But as tensions rose, Musk remained silent. His Twitter account, now dormant for weeks, didn't offer answers. But he didn't need to speak. His actions were louder than words. In the dead of night, a video surfaced online. It was grainy, shaky, filmed with a phone. But it wasn't the quality of the video that mattered. It was the content. It showed Elon Musk standing alone in a dimly lit room. A room filled with tech equipment, wires, and screens displaying live data feeds. His face was shadowed, but his voice was unmistakable. You've heard the whispers, seen the leaks, but you haven't understood the full picture. I didn't build the system for power. I built it for survival. Musk paused as if gathering his thoughts. The world as you know it is broken. The systems are corrupt. Governments are controlled by corporations. Money runs everything. But you are part of the change. The reset isn't just for Tesla. It's for all of us. His eyes looked directly into the camera. A cold, unblinking stare. The code is not a weapon. It's a key. And when you understand how to use it, you'll understand everything. The video ended there. Within hours, people began to connect the dots. Musk's cryptic words. The sudden surge of encrypted data. The reset. It wasn't just about technology. It was about empowerment. The power to control information, to shape the world's narratives, to break free from the systems that had always controlled them. And who was Musk working with? Who else had the power to help him build this? That's when the real revelation hit. Trump. It wasn't just a random alliance. It was a calculated partnership between two of the most powerful men in the world. Musk's technological vision, Trump's political influence. Together, they had the means to reshape the world. And the reset, that was only the beginning. The world's governments were scrambling to understand the implications of the code. Could they shut it down? Could they contain it? Could they stop what was already in motion? But here's the problem. Musk wasn't fighting against the government anymore. He was fighting against the system itself. And this time, he wasn't doing it alone. The world had entered uncharted territory. Elon Musk's code was more than just a tech breakthrough. It had become a revolution, a global movement that challenged the very fabric of society. And the world was reacting. Governments had no choice but to respond. The pressure was too much. The leaks, the theories, the videos, it was all building into something far larger than anyone could control. And then came the first shot across the bow, a global blackout. At precisely 4:42 a.m., local time in every major city, from New York to Tokyo, an event occurred that no one could explain. The internet began to flicker. Communication networks went down. Financial systems stalled. Power grids, those systems that had been the backbone of modern civilization, went silent. And then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. But something had changed. People had seen it. While the systems went down, a simple message appeared on every screen. A command line, just like the one that had once flashed across Tesla dashboards. Reset complete. Standby for Phase 3. Across the globe, panic swept in. Entire sectors of society were paralyzed. People couldn't access their bank accounts. Public transportation halted. Planes were grounded. And yet, those with Tesla vehicles, SpaceX satellites, and Neuralink technology, they could still connect. It wasn't a glitch. It was part of the plan. The code was taking hold. In Washington, D.C., the response was swift. The White House called for an emergency session with the UN. Global leaders convened to discuss the chaos. But they were too late. They didn't understand what they were up against. They were fighting a new kind of warfare, one based on information, not missiles. Meanwhile, Musk's alliance with Trump became clearer. The former president wasn't just a passive observer. He was now the de facto political figurehead of the movement, leading a coalition of tech moguls, activists, and even defectors from major global corporations who saw the power of the new system. Trump's presence gave the movement legitimacy, at least in the eyes of those who believed the system was corrupt. People were ready for a change. They were hungry for an alternative to the status quo. But the revolution wasn't without opposition. A new group, calling themselves the Collective, emerged from the shadows. Comprised of former government operatives, elite hackers, and rogue tech engineers, they sought to stop Musk and Trump's vision. Their objective was clear: to expose the code, to break it open, and to show the world the dangers of Musk's plan. A viral video surfaced, showing an anonymous spokesperson from the Collective. Their message was chilling. This is not just about control. This is about the end of freedom. Musk has built a system that will control every aspect of your life. You won't even know it's happening. When you give him your trust, you give him your soul. The video went viral, sparking a new wave of resistance. People who had been skeptical of Musk's revolution now saw him as a threat, an authoritarian who had manipulated technology to seize power. But for every voice that opposed him, Musk's followers grew louder. The decentralized network he had created was almost impossible to shut down. While traditional communication channels faltered, the Tesla network continued to run. Starlink satellites beamed information around the globe, and Neuralink connected minds to the new system. The revolution was no longer about one man. It was a movement, a global network of like-minded individuals who saw the code as a path forward. People began to believe that they could create their own destiny, free from the control of governments, corporations, and the media. They were ready to take the power back. As the movement swelled, the world teetered on the edge of chaos. Major cities began to experience civil unrest. Protests erupted. Some were peaceful, others were violent. The world had divided into two factions. On one side, the Musk-Trump coalition, promising a future of freedom and self-determination. On the other, the collective, fighting to maintain a semblance of the old world, a world of governments and borders, of regulations and authority. But no one could predict how it would end. Could Musk's revolution stand up to the might of the world's governments? Could the code continue to evolve and adapt? The clock was ticking. It was inevitable. All revolutions end, and this one was no different. As Musk and Trump's code continued to infiltrate every aspect of global society, the cracks began to show. The world was splitting apart. The first signs of real collapse came from the financial markets. Tesla's stock, which had been rocketing skyward for years, suddenly plummeted, sending shockwaves through global economies. Major banks, unable to access their systems, were forced to shut down. Credit cards failed. Governments declared national emergencies. The collapse was swift. Meanwhile, the Musk-Trump coalition was growing stronger. But with strength came arrogance. The elite members of the movement believed they had already won. They thought that the revolution was unstoppable, but they had underestimated the sheer power of resistance. The collective, the hackers, the former agents, the disruptors, had found a way in. They had infiltrated the code. Piece by piece, line by line, they reversed Musk's encrypted algorithms. And then, at the heart of it all, they found something terrifying. The code wasn't just controlling communication, data, and infrastructure. It was controlling people. Neuralink's technology, which Musk had sold as a means to enhance the human mind, was being repurposed to control thoughts, to influence decisions, to guide actions. It wasn't just a system of information. It was a system of control. When the collective released this information to the public, the world recoiled. Panic set in. No one knew who had been affected. No one knew how deep the influence went. Were the leaders of the Musk-Trump coalition even making their own decisions? And then, the final blow, a series of massive coordinated cyber attacks crippled the last remnants of Musk's global network. The Tesla vehicles that had once been the symbol of a new world order ceased to respond. The satellites shut down. Neuralink links flickered and died. The code was broken, but it wasn't just the network that collapsed. It was the world. Civilizations that had grown accustomed to constant connection, information, and convenience found themselves disconnected from the very systems they had relied on. Without the ability to communicate, to share knowledge, society began to fall apart. Cities descended into chaos. People who had once trusted in the system found themselves lost in a new, harsh reality. In the aftermath, no one could claim victory. Musk and Trump had built a future, but it was one they could no longer control. The reset had promised a new beginning, but it had also led to a final collapse. And as the dust settled, no one knew what would come next. The world had changed, and no one could predict what it would become.